All right, let's do some trigonometry. We're trying to find some missing sides here. We got a y value there, a y value there, and a y value there, representing a side that we don't know the distance of. So we are going to be using sine, cosine, and tangent. I'm going to assume that you already know the basics with this, meaning you know that sine is representing opposite over hypotenuse, cosine adjacent over hypotenuse, etc. You also are going to need to know which one's the hypotenuse, which one's the opposite side, which one's the adjacent. If you need any refreshers on that, go ahead and watch my previous video on trigonometry. That will help you get started for this video. But if you are ready, let's get started. We are trying to find what is the missing side length here. If I have a hypotenuse of 15 with an angle measure of 36, what I need to do is I'm going to be using sine. Now sine x is really sine times the 36. That is the angle measure that is given. And we're going to say is equal to, we know sine x is opposite over hypotenuse, so what we're going to be doing is taking our opposite side, which is a y, dividing it by our hypotenuse, which is a 15. And let's go back to our very first algebra class where we're using inverse operation to solve something. Opposite of dividing by 15 is multiplying by 15. That's going to cancel that 15 out. So if I just take sine of 36, whatever that value is, that's what we use a calculator for, and multiply that by 15, I will have my value for y. I have now isolated y, and I can figure out exactly what it is. So don't try and overplay this. Just sine times 36, enter. You get a crazy decimal. Take that value, multiply it by 15. And what we're left with is 8.8, or 8 8/10 if I was rounding. So I can say the approximate value here is 8.8. It's as simple as that. Let's go to our second example. Here we have an angle measure of 28. We're dealing with the opposite and the adjacent. So go to your key code over here. You should write this down in your notes. Keep it on your paper, especially when you're first working through these types of problems, so that you can always revert back to this. Opposite and adjacent. Which one has opposite and adjacent? Looks like it's tangent. So we're going to be using tangent to solve this one. Tangent 28 equals, opposite is y, adjacent is 9. Same steps apply as we did over here. We're going to eliminate the 9 on the right side by multiplying by 9, inverse operation. Find what the tangent of 28 is and multiply that by 9, and you'll have your value for y. Again, calculator. Oh man, it comes in handy. Tan 28. Enter. Crazy decimal. Not going to mess around too much with that. We're just going to immediately multiply by 9. And what I'm left with is 4.785. Let's say you're asked to round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Boom, that's that 8 right there. The 5 is going to bump it up. We got 4.79 for the value of y. This is an approximate value, not exact. So approximately 4.79, or 4.79. Last but not least, this one's a little bit different. Pay close attention. Let me show you exactly what we're going to be doing here. 53 is my angle measure. I have an adjacent side and a hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse means we're going to be using cosine. So I'm going to write cosine 53, remember the x is just the angle measure, is equal to, my adjacent is the 13, and y goes down here on my denominator. So notice these previous two problems. The y, the missing side, was the numerator. The y was the numerator. All we had to do was multiply by the denominator to eliminate and isolate the variable. But on this one, we have y, or the missing side, down in the denominator. What am I supposed to do there? It's a two-step process instead of a one-step. Okay, I'm going to multiply by y. It's going to cancel it over here, but then I got to multiply by y over there. Now, what I have is y times whatever cosine of 53 is, but that's going to equal 13. How in the world am I supposed to get rid of this now? Well, we're multiplying y times that. What's the opposite or the inverse of multiplication? That's right, we're going to divide it. That's going to cancel it here and leave you with nothing but a y on the left side. But if I do it to the left side, I also have to do it to the right. So what you are now finding is what is the value of 13 divided by cosine 53. What am I going to use? Oh yeah, I got a calculator. Makes it simple, right? So we're going to say 13 divided by, put parentheses down, say cosine 53. Man, these things are helpful, aren't they? Hit enter, 21.60. 21.6 is my approximate value of y. Okay, these two very similar. This one takes an extra step when the variable shows up down at the denominator. Okay, study hard. Hopefully you're understanding this. If you're not, I would write it down and just revert back to it. Put this in your notes, put this at the top of a homework assignment so that if you forget which one's which, remember SOHCAHTOA, you've probably been taught that in your classes, but you can always go back to this to help you set these up. All right, this is how you find sides. Stay tuned or check in for another video where I'll show you how to find a missing angle. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.